Alright, y'all boys, welcome back again to another video list, and it's your boy Boss Enosh. We're here again. Today, I'm a little bit late on this, but I've been seeing it though. But I said I was gonna give my comments on it. Some people wanted me to talk about it, so I'm gonna talk about it. Listen, Vivek Ramaswamy, Vivek like cake. He was on CNN to address his comments about Ayanna Presley saying and someone else, Ibram X Candy or some shit, saying that they were the modern KKK, modern Grand Wizards of the Democrat Party. Because of comments that they make. Comments that we have talked about, not their specific comments, but the mindset, the ideologies behind these comments. We talk about this channel because it's something that I hate and despise. And he called it out, and a lot of people don't call it out. A lot of people are scared to call it out. Well, listen, Republicans seem like they don't really defend themselves, bro. They, people call them racist and whatever and sexist and fascist, and they want to be a dictator and shit. They say a bunch of bullshit because really a lot of Republicans are damn near just like Democrats, bro. They agree with a lot of the same shit. It really just be like little social stuff that they don't agree with. Like, let's say like Social Security or, no, I don't know. No, Republicans, no, that's like old. That's old. But let's say like free healthcare for everybody. Like, they don't all agree the same way to go about doing certain stuff, but they be on the same shit. Okay, their interests are corporate interests and military interests. Okay, they be on the same shit. A lot of them. So a lot of them don't really defend themselves when they get called things like racist or fascist and shit like that. That's why I like them when they defend themselves, because a lot of it be bullshit. And they're trying to hit Vivek the same way. Because those are trigger words, buzzwords that the regular average person will latch onto and be like, oh, well, they called him racist, so it must be true. Deal with DeSantis. Jacksonville just had a white supremacist weirdo, crazy, racist scumbag, crazy. You know what I'm saying? I don't even gotta call him racist. Obviously, he's racist. He said he was racist, and he went and killed black people in Jacksonville, Florida. And he went to a Dollar General and killed 3 black people. Apparently, he was gonna go to a HBCU that was over there, or mostly black colleges over there. But then he got scared or something because of security and went to the Dollar General instead. And I've seen people blaming it on DeSantis. Like, what the fuck? How the fuck is that his problem? Nigga went there to go show support, and people were booing him. And it's like, bro, you see how easy the narrative does shit, bro? The media does shit. Meanwhile, where's Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris flew down here to push that lie about slavery was beneficial to black people, but she didn't fly to Jacksonville to go after an actual racist attack. Ain't that crazy? It shows where their priorities lie. Anyways, so they have Vivek on CNN to address his comments, and I feel like it's going to be very funny because the recurring theme with when they bring Vivek on these mainstream media platforms, they think they're trying to get gotcha moments, and when he addresses what they're talking about, instead of acknowledging what he just said, they repeat the same thing again. I saw with the 9/11 thing. Oh, so you're saying 9/11 was an inside job? No, I'm saying that we didn't know everything about 9/11. The government was not truthful about the Saudi Arabian connection. Oh, so you're saying it was an inside job? What the fuck? So we're going to see what they do this time. Let's go.
For presidential candidate, Vivek Ramaswamy. Thank you so much for joining me this morning, sir.
No,
I
sir.
want to start with what I began the program with, which is this racist shooter killing 3 black people in Jacksonville yesterday. What is your reaction to the shooting?
Isn't it crazy? Sorry, I'm gonna stop pausing, but it's crazy how like we got so used to these incidents happening, and I think it's partially because social media too, where we see one thing is hot, then it's not hot no more, on to the next thing. Well, like these crazy incidents happen, and after a couple of days pass, all right, next. Like, it's just tough. Like, that's how our mindsets are right now, bro.
It is such a tragedy, and my heart goes out to those families. This should not be happening in the United States of America, and it is wrong. The reality is we have a mental health epidemic in this country. There are reports that this particular individual, the perpetrator, was indeed evaluated for mental health deficiencies as well.
And apparently he got Baker acted before.
I think we need to have the courage in this country to bring back a practice of putting back psychiatrically ill people who pose a risk to their communities into psychiatric institutions, not just drugging them up, but faith-based approaches and other approaches that fill our longing for purpose and meaning in this country. I think it is just a shame that we even have mass shootings like this, be it the one that happened in Florida, be it the recent one, the Nashville shooter in a Christian school, killing 6 in a school. We have to address that mental health epidemic, and we need leaders with the courage to do it. But my heart goes out to those families, and I hope something like this
and the manifesto for the Nashville shooter still is not out.
Never happens again.
Mental health is one aspect of these shootings, and apparently, and we're still learning a lot about what happened. The facts are still coming out. Also, this was very much apparently racially motivated. The sheriff there said point blank that this shooter had manifestos coming, 3 manifestos, and said specifically that he went to this dollar store with the intent of killing black people.
I think that is heinous and deserves to be called out for what it is. The reality is we've created such a racialized culture in this country in the last several years that right as the last few burning embers of racism were burning out, we have a culture in this country largely created by media and establishment and universities and politicians that throw kerosene on that racism. And I can think of no better way to fuel racism in this country than to take something away from other people on the basis of their skin color. I've been saying that for years. And I think that is driving, sadly, a new wave of anti-black and anti-Hispanic racism in this country.
See, they're not gonna like what he said. They're not gonna like what he said, but I agree with that. Okay, you have to. And you would think that a lot of people understand this, especially the demographic that likes to watch crime shows and crime documentaries all the time, to understand the crazy person that does something crazy like killing a bunch of people. You have to put yourself in their head, in their mindset. Why did this person do this? What did they see that made them react this way? And it's not even just with, you put that with anything. If you're a storyteller, if you're a writer, and you're making a bunch of diverse characters, you have to put yourself in different people's mindsets to make sure that they're unique and they have, they come from different backgrounds, they come from different things that motivate them. So what he's getting at is something that people don't want to hear, but that's why you see a lot of these racist accounts springing up again, because they see certain stuff like a different treatment depending on what you look like. You see a different, and it's funny because a lot of these things kind of stemmed from that same mindset. Look, there was a different treatment between white people and black people or non-white people, right? So what did that brew? That brew a lot of discontent. That brew a lot of hatred towards white people, towards police, for example, towards people in power because of bad things that they would do. They benefited white people, and they valued white people, and they didn't value non-white people, right? That's America's history. So yeah. But now, there's things, and I don't think it's on the same level. It's just it fits the modern times. And now when there's things like, let's say, affirmative action, where a black student, there are times where a black student gets put in a position over a white student, even though the black student, or Asian student, even though the black student or the Hispanic student didn't score as well as the white or Asian student. So then when you got the crazy people that exist in this society, and they see stuff like that, and then when you talk about it, or at least point it out, they tell you, shut up, white boy, shut up, cracker, shut up. You know what you're talking about, shut up, you're racist, shut up. For the people that already got some screws loose, what is that doing to them in their head? You know what I mean? But that's the mindset of some of these people. Because I see it, I look at it, That's why you got stuff like 4chan, and you got them all on 4chan and stuff, because what they're saying is not good. Most people can agree what they're saying is not good. It's bad things that they're saying. But it is truthful that a lot of this stuff comes from obsessing over race, always talking about race, and not treating shit fairly. You feel what I'm saying? I think there's still things that America needs to do to really repair some of the damage that they've done. Even I feel like sometimes some of the damage is irreversible because people's mindsets are set in stone. But I agree with what he's saying, though. People ODing and over focusing on race, it creates a lot of this tension.
I think the right way forward is if we want to stop hate and discrimination on the basis of race, let's stop discriminating on the basis of race and see what unites us as Americans, because I do not think this kind of racial division and any division is good for us as the United States.
I believe that there are a lot of people of color in this country who don't think it was just lasting embers of racism, but that a lot more work had to be done, particularly given the history of the systemic racism in this country with slavery and beyond. I want to ask you about a comment that you made about white supremacy in Iowa on Friday.
I've never once encountered that yet. I'm sure the boogeyman white supremacist exists somewhere in America. I've just never met him. Never seen one. Never met one in my life, right? Maybe I'll meet a unicorn sooner. And maybe those exist too.
So just because somebody hasn't encountered one doesn't mean that the notion of white supremacy doesn't exist as a threat in America. What do you think goes through the minds?
Well, he says a unicorn, a white supremacist. I think most people haven't met a white supremacist though. That's a fact though. Most people have not met white supremacists. Okay, you know what I mean? Like, just most people haven't. And even if you look at the numbers from back in the day, like when it was more prevalent, a lot of black people didn't see them either. There are black people that did. But if we went back in time right now, we asked a random black person in, let's say, I don't know, Chicago, living somewhere in Chicago or something, and asked them if they seen a white supremacist or a KKK member. There's gonna be plenty that say they never seen it. They just they know the stories because that's, not saying it didn't exist. I'm not saying it because it definitely exists. White supremacy definitely does exist. Okay, there are people that are anti-black and they push negative things on black people. For the detriment of black people or for gain or profit. That's real. That's a real thing. And argue with your mama. But yeah, it's not a crazy thing to say I've never met a white supremacist because have I? As far as I know, I haven't. Like, I never met someone who told me there was a white supremacist, but maybe I've been to a counter protest for a Confederate statue. I went there because I was speaking at a function that was for, promoting voting, getting black people to vote and stuff like that. And in Timbuktu, okay, small country town in Florida. And one of the things that they were talking about, me and this other young guy, was getting this Confederate statue taken down because it was in front of the courthouse and it kind of didn't entwine with a place that's for justice and for all for everybody, but then you got a Confederate soldier who was fighting for slavery to stay. Didn't really make any sense, which is something that is a reasonable thing, even though for some people that's their history. That's my family, that's my kin. But again, what do you think matters more? That an ancestor of yours maybe fought in a war to keep America separated and slavery going, or freedom for everybody, equality for everybody? So that's why I never really had a problem with people taking Confederate statues down, because really a lot of them were only put up to put fear back in black people. I'm sure some of them were put up because, that was like their family thing, whatever. Again, I feel like a lot of it is a waste of time anyway. It's a wasted effort for most of it because there's other things that black people could, tangible things for black people. Because, okay, statues taken down, now what? Yeah. But anyways, there was a counter protest at the statue, and there was so many. It was like over 300 white people that was there, and I wish I still had the footage. I don't have the footage. It was on Facebook somewhere. If someone who's an internet sleuth can find it, it was like a counter protest group in Florida, and they would go to or they would say there's a protest here. Let's go and show up. There's a lot of white people. It was really weird, and some of the people there I feel like was definitely racist. Some of the people there was just looking for a fight. Some of them just felt like, they were doing the right thing. They were scared or thinking people were going to come. Because when I was talking to them, they was thinking they thought Antifa was going to come and burn down their businesses. Because there's a lot of small businesses there. That's what they thought was happening. When really it wasn't Antifa. It was just some black people in the community. Really, there's only a couple black people and a lot of white people, because a lot of black people there don't give a fuck about none of that shit. They don't show up for that shit. They don't care. They just live their life. And we was just talking about voting and speaking on stuff. That's it. So I remember someone did drive past in a truck waving a Confederate flag, and they screamed out, "Nigger!" They did. They did that. They did that for real. So yeah, racism is definitely real. You know what I mean? But anyway, so I walked over there because I was really about to go home. Okay, so our event was supposed to be at the statue, but a counter protester was coming. So it's like, we don't want confrontation. We don't want people fighting. So let's just move somewhere else. So we moved somewhere else. And then when I was about to leave, the statue's right there. So I'm like, I want to go see with my own eyes. I want to look these people in the face. The people that I'm seeing on the news, the people I'm seeing online, I want to look them in the face. So I walked over there. And it felt like I was walking to the belly of the beast. I was the only, there was another black person there, but he seemed like he kind of had like some mental issues or something. Like I don't know. It was kind of weird. Maybe he was Hispanic. I don't know. So I'm the only young black person there. I'm walking over there. I'm just looking around. And then some of the white people looked kind of surprised that I was there. Someone's like, hi, do you want some water? And I was like, no, I'm okay. This is a white lady. I guess she was trying to be nice. And I'm just looking, because I didn't see the statue yet, because I don't live over there. I didn't see the statue in my own eyes, so I'm just looking around. And I'm like, wow. And then someone's like, oh, did they send you over here? They send you to count our numbers? Yeah, we're 300 deep. Yeah, what are you going to do? You going to come take it down? You going to tear down our statue? Huh? Antifa, huh? And I'm like, I just looked at him like, nigga, shut the fuck up. I was like, man, shut the fuck up. I kept walking, I'm looking. Other people were just looking at me like a unicorn, like I was a unicorn. And they were just so surprised. They're like, yo, what's this dude doing over here? What's going on? Da-da-da. And I'm like, and I was talking to somebody. Somebody actually did come up and talk to me. And I was like, I just came to look. I never saw the statue. I just came to look and came to see you guys because I just want to see with my own eyes. Woo. There was the one dude that first said something to me, something like confrontational. He had like a vest on. He had a machete in his thing. He had some sunglasses on and the hat. And there were some people there that I guess belonged to like a militia or whatever. They're just overseeing, make sure nothing crazy went on, whatever. There's like some militias that be deep, like some secret shit. I don't know. But it was very interesting. And then this dude, like this biker type of dude, I forgot his name. I thought I got him on Facebook. I never saw him again. He came over and talked to me, and he was like, "Man, hey man, all I gotta say is, man, you got some real big cojones to come over here. You got some real cojones to come over here and not be scared and not be fearful, because a lot of these people are just kind of they're just riled. They're riled up. They're thinking people are gonna come and tear up their home. Some of these guys just looking for a fight, looking for their troublemakers." And he pointed at the dude that I was talking about, that had the machete in his vest. And I'm like, yeah, I see that. But I live here. I got a towing business. I respect you, man. I respect you. We're all Americans. We're all people. We all bleed the same blood. They want us to fight. They want us to fight. Yada yada. It was funny. He was like, I only came out here because I want to make sure that nothing happens. It's my town. I grew up here. I want to make sure nothing crazy happens. I forgot his name. I think it was like Anthony or something. But it was I wish I had someone with me recording, and I wish I had the video that one of the other people, it was one of the people in that Facebook group that they're recording. I can't find it. Bro, this shit was so crazy, bro. But it was just very eye-opening, very interesting. Like, there's so many different types of people that go to them things, and it's like a lot of it is just media manipulation. They see something on the news and they get activated. The same way that a lot of the people come out of protests for, like, let's say Black Lives Matter or something. You know what I'm saying? They see something on the news, they get activated, regardless of the facts, right? Anyways, I'm sorry. I want to tangent. Let's keep going. I'm sorry.
The families of the 3 victims in yesterday's shooting, when they hear you say that white supremacy is basically a fantasy?
I'm sure they're grieving for their loss, and I don't want to politicize those victims. Dana, this is a very sensitive situation where we should have nothing but foremost respect for those victims and not bring them into partisan politics. But I was responding to a question where someone asked me, what racism have I experienced in recent years? And I answered honestly. Most of that racism has come from the modern left. It's happening during the course of this campaign. Kara Swisher calling me Ramaswamy the other day and reveling in making twists of my last name. People effectively reduce...
Facts, though. Make fun of his last name. Isn't that they say what racist white people would do? Like if Trump did that, Rama, what's his name? Ramaswamy, Ding Dong. They would get on his head. Look, Trump is racist. Look, see, racist white man. But when they do it, it's okay. And that stuff like that is part of what makes people mad. Because maybe, okay, not everybody's going to understand all the intricacies of politics or foreign policy or just shit in general. But if there's one thing that people hate, it's hypocrisy. If they see you being a hypocrite, it's gonna make people mad. You're trying to say that I do this and it's bad, but when you do it, it's okay. What? That's part of what fuels a lot of this like anger and and starts with a V. What's the word? Vitriol.
Reducing me to the color of my skin and my attributes. That comes today from the modern left. But the reality is,
do you
this is
acknowledge,
part of
though,
a
that
dogma
white
in this
supremacy
country.
does still exist in the United States?
What is he gonna say?
I acknowledge that all forms of racial animus exist in the United States, including fringe branches. I mean, that's clearly what was at the head of this mentally deranged individual responsible for this shooting, yes. But I think there are many forms.
See, this is something that's interesting about Vivek, and it's politics, so it is what it is. A lot of their game that they play is they want you to get the same phrase. They want to get you to say the same words, the same phrasing that they say, so they can clip it and say Vivek says white supremacy is real, and they only gonna put that part so that they could turn off maybe some of his base. Because Republicans, I mean, it's majority white people in America anyway, but they want to turn off the white Republicans and say, look, see, he thinks you're evil. See. Because a lot of the people use white supremacy as a boogeyman, and they try to blame the regular average white person for that shit instead of like the actual white supremacists and the actual crazy people. So that's why they don't answer. That's why he doesn't answer specific phrasing. He says, I believe all forms of racism exist. Because that's true. All forms of racism do exist. There's white people that don't like black people. There's Spanish people that don't like black people. There's black people that hate white people. There's Spanish people that hate white people. There's Asians that hate black people. There's black people that hate Asians. All type of shit exists. It's real. And a lot of people have biases.
Forms of mental derangement that cause us to see one another on the basis of our skin color and our attributes. And I think what we need to revive, Dana, and it's my job as the leader, hopefully as the next president, to do this.
And notice how she ignored how she said that, these people on the left be making fun of his name and shit.
Our doctrine of e pluribus unum, not just celebrating our diversity and our skin-deep attributes, but celebrating what unites us across that diversity. That's what we've forgotten in the United States of America. Our true strength is the set of ideals that unite us. That's my job to revive as our next president. And I think that the next generation in particular is so starved for that. Starved for commonality, starved for a nation that is unified, bigger than the sum of its parts. That's what we need to recreate in this country. And to those who say the remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination, I say no. The right remedy is actually abandoning all discrimination and moving forward with colorblind meritocracy in the United States of America.
You took it to another level on Friday. In addition to the comment we played, you took issue with comments from Congresswoman Ayanna Pressley.
That's why I don't like the news, because it's not about having a conversation. It's about trying to get them.
She reportedly said, quote, "We don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice." About that, you said, "These are the words of the modern grand wizards of the modern KKK." I'm sure, the KKK was responsible for more than a century's worth of horrific lynchings, rapes, murders of black people. How in any way are the views you're talking about comparable to the views and atrocities committed by the KKK?
What I said is the Grand Wizards of the KKK would be proud of what they would hear her say, because there's nothing more racist than saying that your skin color predicts something about the content of your viewpoints.
You didn't just say they would be proud. You said these are the words of the modern Grand Wizards of the modern KKK.
It is the same spirit. You're right about that, Dana. I think it is the same spirit to say that I can look at you and based on just your skin color, that I know something about the content of your character, that I know something about the content of the viewpoints you're allowed to express. For Ayanna Pressley to tell me that because of my skin color, I can't express my views, that is...
Look, see?
Wrong. It is divisive. It is driving hate in this country. This is dividing our country to a breaking point.
That is a debate that is based on nonviolent discussion. That you just said you're using rhetoric, which she said she's using rhetoric.
Nonviolent discussion. See, she's trying to excuse it. She's trying to excuse it. She's trying to say, "Oh, you call them KKK. KKK kills people, huh? Who are they killing?" the KKK wasn't just about killing people. All the stuff they did wasn't just murder. And you think, when they're actually talking about it, they pretend to understand that it's not just the violence aspect. It's also about, when they say systemic racism isn't the part of racism where you're killing people. It's the part where you're disadvantaging people based off of in different ways, non-violent ways. You know what I'm saying? Let's say like housing, right? Or just ideology, right? The ideology that spread. Because what is systemic racism? Systemic racism is the ideology of racism that affects different systems in our society, where it's a justice system, like the courts, or insurance, you know what I'm saying, or banking system, financial systems. That's what that means. Where there's people in these positions that have that follow this ideology and do things that validate this ideology. Where does that ideology start? With the rhetoric. It starts with the mindset. We don't need any brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. What's a brown voice? You tell me that because I'm brown, I have to say a certain type of thing? The answer to past discrimination is current discrimination. So you're saying do what the other people did and do what they did back then and keep it going? What the fuck? How does that solve anything? That sounds like something the KKK would agree with. Discrimination. That's what the KKK like. Discrimination, right? Because what it is, you're black. You need to say this. You need to say that. You need to shut up when I tell you shut up. You need to speak when I tell you speak. That's what it is.
That's one thing. And another thing is to say that she represents and she is a modern version of a KKK, which, as you know, was dedicated to the subjugation and violence against black people. How on earth is she a modern grand wizard of that kind of organization?
Let's be intellectually honest and get to the heart of what this debate ought to be about. There is a worldview that says that the remedy to past discrimination is present discrimination. That if you're black or brown, you have to have a particular point of view. That's from Ibram Kendi. That's from Ayanna Pressley, the people I quoted in my speech yesterday.
But can you have an intellectually honest conversation when you accuse her of being a grand wizard of the KKK? Can you have that intellectually honest discussion with that kind of rhetoric?
Yes, I can, Dana, because the point I'm highlighting is that even the people who, in good spirit, we all agree that the KKK was an awful organization that is a toxic stain in our national history. So given that we can start from that point of agreement, now that allows us to say, well, who actually sounds more like that organization today? The people who are calling for more racial discrimination on the basis of skin color. So yes, I think that is an intellectually useful starting point for a provocative discussion that we need to have in this country.
The whole point is the KKK wasn't
Dana,
just about rhetoric.
We have to speak openly.
They lynched people, they murdered people, they raped people, they burned their homes.
And that was wrong.
Simply
that was
because
obviously wrong.
Wrong. Okay, so again,
that is obviously a wrong
if you want to have an
done.
intellectual discussion, do you think that maybe comparing her to the Grand Wizard and the notion of what she said to being a modern leader of the KKK was maybe a step too far, or you stand by what you said?
The other thing that makes this very funny is that, and it makes Vivek really smart, because every time he goes on the news, he does this thing to make them look like hypocrites. And remember what I said earlier about people who hate hypocrites? They're getting on him for calling someone or referencing them to the KKK, right? But when they do it to Trump, when they do it to Republicans, when they do it to everybody else, and they call them Nazis or call them the KKK, Nazis kill people. The KKK kill people. What are you calling them that for? And they don't say nothing. They don't go as hard on it. They condone it. Okay, that's normal. That's okay. It's accepted. Because you call them racist, even if there's no validity, even if the claims are not valid, you call them racist. You call all these people racist. People call Vivek racist, and they say he's KKK member or a Nazi. So pretty much, it's okay when they do it, but it's not okay when he do it. That's what he's showing here. He's doing this on purpose. He did it because, one, he believes it, and I think it's a controversial way to say it, to call out what they're doing, but it really showcases the hypocrisy. You feel me? It showcases how these people move, and they don't move solid, bro. They're not solid, bro. It's not solid at all.
I stand by what I said to provoke an open and honest discussion in this country.
Provocative.
Because there is a gap, Dana, between what people will say in private today and what they will say in public. I think we need to close that gap. I think we need to have real, open, honest, raw conversation as Americans. That is our path to national unity. And there are many Americans today who are deeply frustrated by the new culture of anti-racism that's really racism in new clothing. And we need to have that debate in the open. Dana, I think that you're doing, with due respect, what many in the media do, picking on some fringe comment in the context of a broader context that I was offering it in a speech.
All right, so you just said that your comment was fringe.
Let's have the courage to confront the meat of that. I'm saying you drew a fringe comment from a much longer speech. As I described you picking one fringe comment from a long speech that I gave to duck debate from the real issue that I think you don't want to have, Dana, because I think you probably agree with me on this, that this is toxic rhetoric from leading politicians on dividing us on the basis of race. And I want to have the open debate. I think this debate is fascinating and interesting and opening and important. What I did was I do too.
Explain to our viewers that you were asked a question and you took it to a point where you called a sitting member of Congress who is black, who was having discussions about race, calling her...
Oh my gosh, shut up, robot. Y'all seen They Live? It looked like one of the people from They Live, bruh. That's what that's reminding me of. Yeah, not working, bruh. It's not working. Let's look at the comments real quick. You can see in her face when he makes solid points, she's ready to move on to the next question and stops listening. It's actually fascinating to observe. No cap. Look at her face. Like, go back and look at her face every time she's talking, bro. It's gotta be strange for him to speak honestly from the hip with someone who's being fed talking points. Yeah, strange dynamic. You see that she got an earpiece in there. They're telling her she got a script. They're telling her what to say. That was a master class in handing someone their butt. Vivek studied for the politics like he did a damn spelling bee. This is pure gold. Good job, CNN, for an amazing Vivek ad. No cap, bro. This is all free ads for Vivek, bro. FYI, she starts blinking like crazy when she gets nervous. She does it in this video when he refuses to step the spin and provides a counter-argument underscoring the fact she, as part of the media, is responsible for sowing racial discord, leads to violence.
I can look at you, and based on just your
look at her,
that I know something
She's
about
let me look at my notes. Let me look at my notes.
I know something about the content of the viewpoints you're allowed to express.
Listen, you know, I may not agree with everything Vivek has to say, but he's the one political presidential candidate that is getting people activated, getting me activated, because he's saying things that people are scared to say. Like, how, because the stuff he's saying is stuff that people like me on YouTube have been saying, and me in real life have been saying for forever. And every time one of the next videos coming up is gonna be me talking about. It's gonna be about how I left Black Lives Matter. Okay, I've been meaning to do that story time video for a while, but I just never did. But I'm going to. Why I left Black Lives Matter? Because I was very, look, I was out there. Like, I was in the streets. I was marching. I was protesting, bro. Like, that's real shit. Like, I was out there speaking, letting my voice be heard. If you look at my channel, you'll find, I think, like, at least 2 of the videos when I was talking. All this stuff that I talk about is not coming from it's coming from a genuine place. It's coming from a genuine place. I'm a real human being. I'm not a bot. I'm not a robot. I'm not an NPC. Yo, you feel me? But anyways, that's coming soon. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share, hit the notification bell, and join the Discord. The link is in the description box, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace out.